one of the things you have to do with bass fishing is you have to begin in order to start out at fishing. You can't get overwhelmed by all the variables. There are so many controlled variables and uncontrolled variables in bass fishing that there's a time and place for that later on when you get more skills. But until you get skills, until you get confidence in your own abilities, you have to just sort of keep it manageable. And one of the first things you can do, I'm going to sort of run it through here. Let's say, for example, you got a boat. Maybe you just started fishing. You don't really know what to do. So here is a really good approach for it. The first thing that I suggest is when you put your boat in, you can't look at the whole lake as an entire lake. It's like if you launch your boat on a 20,000 acre lake, don't look at it as a 20,000 acre lake. You have to pick a part of the lake and narrow that part of the lake down to where you're going to fish at. So, and this is stuff we've talked about before, but I want to reiterate it in sort of a different presentation here. So let's say, for example, you go to a 20,000 acre lake. You don't know much about it. You don't know really what to do. The first thing you can do is look at your map and pick out the biggest creek of one of the larger creek arms on the lake. Now, those creek arms could be, 1,000 acres, or it could be 10,000 acres, depending on the size of the lake. But first thing you do is going to land you on a really good area. Is pick out, just a good looking creek and go to the back 2/3 part of that creek. In other words, drive your boat halfway back in the creek, and once you get about 2/3 of the way back in the creek or so, shut your boat down. Now, once you shut your boat down, the water that you see in the front of you, from 2/3 of the way back in that creek to all the way back in the creek, that is your lake for the day. It's like you're not going to go halfway out in the creek. You're not going to go to the mouth of the creek out there. You're not going to go to the main lake. Your lake for that day is the back 2/3 part of that creek arm. So immediately, your lake has been reduced down to, anywhere between 50 to maybe 200 or 300 acres, almost like a big farm pond, because that's where you're going to fish. Now, any time of the year, I don't care if it's winter, summer, spring, or fall, a major creek arm about 2/3 of the way back in the creek, or maybe halfway, but just 2/3 is usually a good starting point. There's always going to be a population of bass there 12 months out of the year. So you're going to be around some fish. If you are in a major creek arm and you're 2/3 of the way back in it, there's going to be some fish back there to catch. So once you make that your area, the next thing you have to do is survey all of the potential bass holding structures or cover in there.